learning more and more every year I go back to Kentucky, and today we're going to be going over my highlights from my 2024 Kentucky trip. Welcome back to another episode of Neat Bourbon. My name's Tanner, and today we are going to be going over my Kentucky trip that I just got back from. Now, I gotta say the trip went a little bit sideways. It didn't go nearly as I had originally planned. My microphones ended up breaking, so my footage, didn't really come out that hot. And then we also got really lucky at, most of the distilleries that we went to. So kind of blew my budget, and didn't even have any money left over to be able to go to liquor stores and do a bunch of hunting content like I wanted to. I just didn't want to be going into liquor stores and just taking videos of, their inventory without having any interest in or any funds to be able to buy anything that I saw. So I kind of just foregone that entire portion of the trip. But nevertheless, going to be going over, the restaurants that I went to and all the distilleries that we hit and kind of my thoughts on each of the experiences that we chose to do. So we all met for dinner at the Silver Dollar there in Louisville, and that is a phenomenal restaurant. They have a wide selection of dusty pours, so I actually was able to get a dusty flight, that was my first time actually having a real dusty flight, so I was able to have some old Fitzes from the 1980s and Evan Williams, so had some really nice, or three nice old pours. They were all 4 to 6 years old, but I gotta say that those 4 to 6 year old dusty pours, they had such a rich, strong oak profile, which is something that I personally really love. So they all hit really home, and I also really, really picked up what that dusty, musty note is on a bourbon. So that was a really cool experience. The pours were reasonably priced there as well. They also had a Peerless double oak pick there, so I tried really hard to buy the bottle from that guy there, but they already sold out of all the picks that they could sell to individuals, so wasn't able to get one. But yeah, so started off with the Silver Dollar bar. Would highly recommend it. Phenomenal selection. Some of the pours are pretty expensive, but they do have some reasonable price stuff there as well. Then starting off on the next day, I went to I went to Michter's, pretty early. Got there about an hour 45 minutes before they opened. They opened at 10, so I was there around 8:15 in the morning. My buddy and I were third and fourth in line. Every day Michter's kind of does daily drops or random daily drops, but usually they put something out every morning. So waited in line there. Did get lucky and got a Shenks and a Bomburgers. And a Bomburger. So, was pretty excited about that. Michter's does a, the day before they had the Michter's 10 Rye. The day after they had, the Toasted Rye bundle pack. Then they had another Michter's 10 Rye, dropped later in the week. So missed those. Was able to get the Shenks and Bomburgers. That was really cool. So then there, the Bardstown, Whiskey Row location was right across the street from Michter's. So walked on over there. Bardstown had a phenomenal selection of so many different bottles over there. So I'm not going to show all of my bottles here today, but I'm going to show the bottles that some of the highlight bottles. I'll save the full-blown bottle haul video for a later one. Then we went back to the house, got on the bus, and then went all the way out to Bardstown, the big distillery. Now Bardstown is, the whole group's favorite distillery to go to. The restaurant there is absolutely lights out. I'm a big fan of the fried chicken that they have there, but the hot brown is absolutely spectacular as well. The bar at Bardstown out there, they've got cornhole set up, bocce ball. It's just a great place to go relax, chill. Their pear bourbon slushy is phenomenal. So if you're into bourbon slushies, the pear slushy that they had at Bardstown is a must try. So we ended up doing one of the tours there at Bardstown. We usually do the barrel thieving tour. I thought we had signed up for the barrel thieving tour again this year. That's when you go into the Rick House. You try 3 different barrels at cask strength. They tell you about them. They let you guess them. Then you go into the bar off the side of the Rick House, which is like the coolest place that, you know, I've ever been. So absolutely love that tour. We usually do that same tour every year, but this time they took us back, you know, and we saw the where they're doing distillation. So that was really cool, and they had like really cool informative video and everything. So, you know, still really happy with that tour. But you know, for me, the barrel thieving tour is kind of where it's at. And also, they give you this awesome Glencairn. So like, honestly, it's a great value there because you get, you know, to try like four or so different whiskeys, and then they give you that Glencairn. I think the tour is like $20 or something like that. So I think that's a great value and well worth your time, even in whiskey and for the glass. So like, I think it's an incredible value. So then after there, we went over to the Willet. So we were able to get a reservation at the upstairs bar over at Willet. So I did get one of those purple top flights that they had there. Yeah, man, said purple top to the waiter. He is pissed. He's like, we hate it. These are Willet family estates. They are not purple tops. I'm like, well, you know, they are the only bourbon bottle with a purple top, and so the shoe fits, buddy. You know, I mean, like, change the bottle if you don't want people to call them purple tops. But anyways, I didn't want to get into it with them, but I was just like, just so you know, the owners of Willet hate it when you call them purple tops. So maybe we should just call them Willet Family Estates, or just the Family Estate series. So I had a flight of the Family Estate series, so I had a 6-year, a 7-year, and then a 16-year. That was an amazing experience. I honestly thought there was like just so much oak in the 16-year, which is like the first time that I've ever, you know, had that on a bourbon. I thought the oak notes were great, but I did think that like the oak actually overpowered like the complexities of the bourbon. So I thought it kind of like took away from it a little bit. I thought the 6 tasted a little youthful, and then the 7 was a great balance between the two, but it just lacked a little bit of the oak that I would, you know, be looking for it to be perfect. You know, Willet does kind of have like that musty funk, you know, on all their pours. So I was able, you know, to get a lot of that on all 3 of the different pours. But overall, I was really happy with, you know, the Family Estate series, and I did try a 7-year rye as well. So experience. And by the way, the egg salad sandwich there at Willet, it is like, you know, smoked Duke's mayonnaise. They have like a special mustard on it. They have like their own special cheese. The eggs are fantastic. You know, it's like toasted Texas toast that the egg salad is on. Absolutely fantastic. Like, we got 3 orders of them, and then our other table, like all 6 of them, all got their own order as well. So everybody on the trip thought the egg salad at Willet was a huge hit, and the scenery at the Willet Distillery is fantastic. You know, it overlooks a nice lake, so highly recommend, like, even if you can't get into the upstairs bar at Willet, to at least go there and check it out, because like it is very scenic and gorgeous. And they always have 10 different bottles stocked, you know, at their gift shop. So you know, like the Johnny Dunn or the Johnny Drum. That's it, the Johnny Drum. That bottle's there. Been told that bottle's fantastic. I was able to pick one up. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. And then, yeah, after Willet, I tried to get the bus to go by Heaven Hill on the way out there and on the way home, but everyone on the bus kind of like vetoed me and told me no. So we didn't go by there. So on day 3, we had 3 distilleries lined up. We had Angel's Envy in the morning. By morning, I mean like noon. And then we had Evan Williams at like 1:45. And then we had Peerless bringing up the rear for the day. So start off by going to Angel's Envy. Gotta say, Angel's Envy there at like, you know, in Whiskey Row there in Louisville. That place is gorgeous. Like the distillation room, like, you know, the tall stills and everything. That is a really impressive place. Like, highly recommend going there, checking out the tour. We did one of the elevated tours where you were able to try, you know, the like one of their private barrels. We also had the regular Angel's Envy, and then you also got to try, you know, I think it was like the Angel's Envy at cask strength, not a private barrel. So like that was also pretty cool as well. So they gave you these pretty cool glasses during the tasting, and you were able to keep them. So I do have several of these now, and actually, these are some of like the coolest glasses, I don't know, that I have. I love the size of them. I think they're perfect for tasting, and yeah, I just think they fit great in the hand. So yeah, really happy with those Angel's Envy glasses. The actual distillery itself, absolutely gorgeous. You know, all inside there in the middle of the city, super cool. So yeah, and the gift shop at Angel's Envy, of course, they had their own private barrel there. They had the regular, you know, port finish. They had the rye. They even had their like limited release, those like $225 the cask strength port, and then they had the rye, that one there as well. Didn't pick those up. I, you know, really was kind of having a moral hangover for doing that fight at Willett the day before. And yeah, so passed on all the bottles there, but just letting you know that all those bottles were there. And I also kind of only budgeted for like one really expensive bottle for the trip, and I'll explain what I was able to get there later. But yeah, overall, great experience at Angel's Envy. Then we did the cocktail class at Evan Williams. So that was actually super cool. Took you down to the basement. It was like a Prohibition era style cocktail tasting, or like cocktail class where you get to have basically the original old fashioned, learn about the roots there, and then you get a sample, you know, 4 different, you know, Evan Williams products. And then at one of the products that you do taste is the Evan Williams 12-year. And then at the end of the tour, you're actually offered the chance, or offered the opportunity, to buy one of these. So that was the whole reason for going on that cocktail course or cocktail tour. Although that was one of our favorite things that we did during the whole trip, because it's just so unique, super comfortable, and we thought that the performance from the bartender was spectacular as well. But yes, you were able to buy this bottle, and it is $149 after, you know, paying for the tour. So I don't know. It's probably, you know, I don't know. This is the only way you can get this bottle. I did do a review on this. I do like this bottle a whole lot. So I wanted to have one on my bar, and that was the only way I was going to get one. So I am really happy with this bottle, and I do think it's amazing. But $150 is expensive. But, you know, anyways, it's rare. I like the story behind it, and I'm happy I had it. Cool. So then after Evan Williams, we were heading off to Peerless. It was like 3:45. And then everybody in the group was, you know, didn't eat lunch because we had an early Angel's Envy tour. So then everyone was just kind of complaining about being hungry. So then we ended up skipping the Peerless tasting, unfortunately. But we did go back to Peerless, though, the next day and got the Toasted. So we'll touch on that one, you know, a little bit later. But still did make it by Peerless and did get their new Toasted release. So then we ended up deciding to go to this restaurant. It was called North of Bourbon. Now this is like one of the best restaurants that I have been to. We went there last year. So we went to the Neat Bottle Shop, and we were talking to the owner of that bottle shop, you know, there in Louisville, and he said, you know, you gotta go to North of Bourbon. If you can get a reservation, go there. So again, it was like 3:30 when we went to North of Bourbon, the restaurant, and they're on happy hour. So like, I think from like 3 to 5, I think their menus are basically closed, and so you can only get their happy hour menu. The happy hour is phenomenal. You get $5 off old fashions. I guess the beers are discounted as well. No discounts on pours, maybe rail stuff, but still like their old fashioned list, you know, are all $5 off. So I think they're all normally $14. So I think they're $9 a piece. For the quality of old fashioned, you know, they're all super unique. We ended up, you know, basically trying the ward there of all the old fashions. So I mean, they had like a truffled old fashioned, which I got absolutely phenomenal. Like if you like truffles and like that truffly flavor, holy smokes, that old fashioned was spectacular. And then their food menu, their potato wedges, I don't know how they do it, but they're like the best potato wedges I've ever had. Also, they had some andouille sausage fritter balls, spectacular. And then the highlight item that we ended up getting like 6 orders of, they had these like fried catfish bites. I don't know how they do the breading, but like the breading was so light, so airy, so crispy. The catfish was super moist and like flaky as well, and it was had like a sweet chili sauce on there, and it was absolutely spectacular. You know, I mean, there was 4 of us, and we were definitely enjoying ourselves, and like we definitely had a boatload to eat, and like our tabs came out to like, you know, $55 a person, which, you know, for the amount of food and alcohol that we were able to get there, we thought was a great value. So again, that was, you know, we were like last year in Louisville, everyone said that like going to north of Bourbon was, you know, one of the highlights of the trip. And then after, you know, we kind of solidified north of Bourbon as kind of like our go-to restaurant when we're going back to Louisville next year, because that place is phenomenal. So highly recommend north of Bourbon when you go. They also had like a pear, you know, like a daydream pear salad there. We got that as well. You know, it had to be a little bit healthy. It was really good. But seriously, don't skip on their andouille sausage fritters. Those fried catfish bites and the potato wedges are phenomenal. Basically, if you just get those 3 things, you know, you'll be a happy camper. Yeah, so then I kind of like wrapped it up for the day for us then. And then the next day, so day 4 and the final day, woke up early again and then went out to Heaven Hill, waited in line at Heaven Hill. I was like 100th in line at Heaven Hill. They opened at 9:30. I got there like right at 8. So I was there about an hour and a half, you know, before they opened. Heaven Hill is like an hour away from our house, way out in Bardstown. So we were all kind of like hoping for something exciting. Turned out when we got there, they only had the Elisha Craig 18, which, you know, is phenomenal, but I kind of already have one back there, and it's basically full, and I had already spent, you know, a good amount of money on bottles at other distilleries, so decided to pass on that bottle. I was really hoping to get the William Heaven Hill 17 year, but didn't pan out for me on this trip, so maybe again next year. The guy I was waiting in line with at Victor said that he had picked one of those up earlier in the week on Wednesday. I was out at Heaven Hill on Friday, so I don't know, just missed it, I guess, by a day. So anyways, on the way back home, was able to stop by Four Roses, was able to get something there, and then went by Jim Beam. So at Jim Beam, I walked in and I was just like, holy smokes. They had like every bottle they'd ever released out. Yeah, I mean, they had, you know, the Boston, the Claremont, the Frankfurt. They had a bunch of different distillery-only release blends. They had, you know, the Knob Creek 18. They had Booker's. They had the Little Book, along with, you know, like the Knob Creek 12. They didn't have the Knob Creek 15. And they had a bunch of other bottles there, too. And I was just like, holy crap, like, what? I went to the guy, I was like, y'all have, like, every bottle that, like, y'all released, like, last year out. And he's like, yeah, he's like, the reason why there's so many bottles on the table, like, one of the cleaning people just, like, found a couple of these old cases, so we just, like, you know, put them out, all out this morning, like, so that's the reason why we have so many releases out. Ended up walking out of there with the Jim Beam. So this is their lineage. So this is a 15-year 111 proof? Yeah, 15-year 111 proof bottle. So they said it was, you know, super limited. They could only get it, you know, if you were to be doing an experience or something like that. Very similar to the Evan Williams 12-year. I don't know. I do like my old, you know, 15-year, 120 proof single barrel store picks. They said that this was going to be similar, if not elevated, to what those were. So, I don't know. Kind of broke down. Was feeling, you know, a little let down from, you know, leaving Heaven Hill. So, spent entirely too much money on this bottle. But hey, I have it on my bar, and I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna be bringing you guys some reviews to figure out, is this ultra expensive, most expensive bottle of bourbon that I've ever bought actually any good? I hope so. But Who knows? We'll find out very soon. So then after Jim Beam, went back home. We had the Nothing Better on the Market tour at Old Forester. Holy smokes, the Old Forester distillery is so sick there in Louisville. They're on Whiskey Row. So we did that. We tried the birthday bourbon on the tour. It was the 1910, and then we also tried one of their single barrels. It was a Floor 8, and it was a spectacular single barrel there. So yeah, going through what makes the Old Forester tour different is that they have their own cooperage there, so you actually get to see, and someone actually gets to physically push the button, to see a barrel get charred. So like that was an incredibly unique experience that we have not seen at any other distillery. So we were really hoping to get the 117 series, the High Angel share, and the tour guide asked, because I know that they had been giving those out to most of the tours all week. But I guess since we were there on Saturday, they had already given them out and they were out of them. So we didn't get that. But what we did get was the 1924. I know I just did a review on this. I know I already have this bottle, but still was able to get it for 115 bucks. I think it was 122 after tax. I know people think this bottle is expensive. I freaking really like it, and I'm happy with it. And to get it at 115 bucks, I'm stoked, because I had to pay like $139, I think, for my last one. So, save $15 on this one. So, really happy to have this one on my bar. And then after that, we went back to Michter's. We heard some ryes were dropping, didn't get them, but we did go upstairs to the Michter's bar and have some cocktails. Holy smokes, that bar was spectacular. The last few years we've been, it always been like 2+ hour wait. We was only like a 15-minute wait this time, so we were able to get up there. Had some amazing pours up there. They have a clarified cocktail up there. It's a completely clear drink. They use a clear ice cube, and it tastes like a pina colada. And it's not like an overly sweet pina colada. It's on the rocks, absolutely phenomenal. So if you go to that bar, I highly recommend that clarified cocktail. We were there we only allowed in like an hour and 15, hour and 30 minutes. They made us leave because we stayed there for so long. It was phenomenal. Then we ended up going back over to Peerless. Rode our scooter gang all the way over there. So that was a blast. Was able to pick up this Toasted while I was there. I was torn in between the Toasted and the Double Oaked. But, the Double Oaked at the distillery, I think, was like 120 bucks. I think that Toasted was like 125. I know you can get the Double Oaked these days for like $90 offline or like $80 plus shipping offline. So spending $120 at the distillery just didn't seem like a good deal. So I did pass on that one. They did have 2 single barrels there. I did actually pick up an 8-year single barrel Peerless. I know Peerless gets a lot of gripe because they don't have any age statements. Well, I got one with an 8-year age statement on it, and super stoked to open that bottle real soon. Yeah, so anyways, guys, that kind of like concludes the tour for this year. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think would have been your most fun part? What do you think about the bottles that I got? And my bottle haul video will be coming immediately following this video. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, would you please consider giving me a like? Would you please consider subscribing? And as always, this is Neat Bourbon. My name's Tanner. And pop the bottles and share the pours. And we'll see you in the next one.